So tell me about one of the customers you met one day. You were telling me that you met somebody at a furniture store and they were almost like a captive audience. So start that kind of story right up like I did.
Yeah, so one of the days we were in the downtown area of a small town. I love the small town, this community, the small businesses, just business owners just there watching each other's shops, you know. And in this one particular store, it was a furniture store actually. And I went in and there were some people talking, and then I noticed kind of towards the back there was a gentleman, and he was just sitting there, and a lady was working on his thumb, and I was like wondering like what is happening. And so I went back there and I saw that she was like taking out a splinter that he had gotten. So I started talking to him, and I'm like, well, you can't leave until he gets the splinter out. And you know, Southern folk and our niceness, you know, our humbleness and like kindness, everything, I figured even after he gets it out, he's probably still going to stay there and listen to me finish talking. So, you know, I'll start talking now. So I started talking to him, canvassing him, showing him a lot of the different books we had, where it was like Great Controversy and Desire of Ages and Bible Readings for the Home and Ministry of Healing. And he was really like interested in some of these books, and kind of talked to him about what it was for, because the books are great and they get for the community, and the donations that we receive for the books actually help go towards whatever student is getting the donations, goes their tuition, so they can help go to an Adventist university. And so he was excited about that. He's excited that he gets some books that are great. He loves reading. He said actually he loves doing Bible studies every morning. He said he hasn't missed a morning in years, because the day is not the same without his Bible reading in the morning. If sometimes he ends up forgetting, he'll leave the shop closed for a little while, make sure he gets his Bible reading, and he wants to talk to the Lord and learn something new before he starts off his day. And so that was really amazing. That's actually kind of inspiring to me. And so he was really excited about some of the books, because they're all Christian books. They're all exciting, teaching him new things, different things he may not have known before, and all based on the Bible. And like, what better thing than that? And so he was really interested in that. He was also excited that his donation that he was giving for the books was going to also help me going on a student missionary year, which I plan on going next year, teaching. And so he was excited about that. He said one of his church members, I think he at his Baptist church, had taken a year off to do missionary work, and so he was excited about that. He knew kind of similar experience of what was going on, and he's passionate about youth and sharing the gospel too. So he's excited. He went back, gave a donation for some of the books, and he gave, it was $200 actually for 6 or 7 books, and which is a little bit more than people need to give. But he was excited. He was like, I know it's a little bit more, but I want to be able to help you out. And like, I had some more books I could have given him that were kids books, but he said he didn't have any young kids. He was okay without them. He would stick with just the message books for his devotions. And so I was really excited to leave with him, and we prayed with each other before we left. He actually offered to pray with me before I was able to pray with him, which is always a amazing experience, because I like to pray with people before I leave them after I finish canvassing with them. And it's just amazing when other people say, hey, let me pray with you first, like in your ministry. And so it's cool that he recognized that, and it's kind of just an amazing experience.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you about your parking lot experience, which is the same, the Walmart experience. You just told me about that. So I'm going to lead in by asking you, but I need you to start as if you're telling the story and you didn't even hear the question. Okay? But oftentimes you're not just doing businesses, you're going to parking lots and you're meeting people as they come out of stores. Yeah. So tell us about an experience at a Walmart when you met somebody coming out of a store, and then you just start telling a story as if I hadn't asked that question. So you tell us where it was, how you're meeting people, that kind of stuff.
So in another small town that we were at, we was on top of doing industrial businesses and factories and downtown areas and regular businesses like salon shops and different things. We also like to go to parking lots, because a lot of people like shopping, and also especially grocery stores, they need groceries, they need things to eat. So there's always people coming in and out, and so what better place is there to canvass and spread God's word and give out books than where people are. So in one of these places, I was in a parking lot. This is a Walmart parking lot. A lot of people were at this Walmart. It was a really small town. It was a small kind of Walmart, but because that's the only area like there that people could shop, a lot of people were coming in. And so one of the gentlemen that I spoke to is kind of a bigger guy in this nice truck. And so I went to go talked to him. He only had a couple groceries in his basket, so I knew if I don't talk to him now, he's gonna get in his truck and he's gonna go off to whatever he wants to do. So there was a lady that was near me, and she had a lot of groceries, so I decided to talk to her after I talked to him because he was on his way out pretty quickly. So I went over as fast as I could to talk to him without like running up to him and scaring him, because that would not be good at all. So I went up to him, I said like hi, introduced myself, started canvassing him, showing him some of the books. He wasn't too interested in the Bible readings for the home because he reads his Bible for himself. He said he doesn't want to know any questions and things. He's probably already found the answers because he's talked to the pastor of the Bible. And though we know that you can always learn new things, that was something that he wasn't super interested in. So I decided to show him some different books. And one book that he saw in my hand that he caught his eye was A Great Controversy, which we have titled The History of Freedom. And because it talks about religious freedoms and how they went through, and also talks about Bible prophecy. And I don't know how many people watching this have read it, but it's a really good book, and he was really excited. He liked the cover and how it was patriotic and had the American flag, and so it was something that interested him. So I showed it to him and started talking to him about it, and he was like, yeah, let me donate. I want this book. Like, I don't read too often, but if I'm going to read, this is the book I want to read. And so I gave it to him, and he gave a donation. And I started to leave, but I just felt impressed that I needed to go back and leave him another book, which is The Ministry of Healing, which we'd call Health and Happiness. And so I went back, and by the time I'd gotten back, as I had already knew, he was already in the truck. He was about to leave. His engine was running. And so I went over and like waved at him, and he rolled down his window, and he said, "Hey, would you forget something?" And I was like, "No, actually, I just felt impressed I should leave you with this book too." So I showed him The Ministry of Healing, and he was kind of like not interested too much because he said he didn't like reading, but The History of Freedom was something that intrigued him. So I told him a little bit about the book, said I just felt like God told me to give this to you, and so he was like, yeah, well, if God told me to give it to me, like, yeah, like let me hear what you have to say. And so I'm telling him about it and how there's a chapter on addiction, and that's when he started to open up, and he started sharing how one of his sons was struggling with an addiction, had actually just recently gotten out of rehab, and he didn't want to tell me what it was for because he didn't want me doing anything remotely similar to it, introducing me to anything, and that was fine with me. It didn't matter. What mattered was him getting this book to help his son, and so he was really impressed by this book. And so I opened it to the chapter. He was looking at it. He was like, "Wow, this is great," and especially like since God told you to give it to me, like I must need it. And so I offered to pray with him, and he gladly accepted. He said, "Yes, you can always have more prayer." And so I prayed with him, and after I'd finished praying, I noticed like his eyes were red, and he started tearing up and crying, which is something like I'm not a super emotional person, and I don't make a lot of emotional experiences with people while canvassing. But when it does happen, it's like really amazing. It was just touching and humbling experience. Like this big guy, this burly guy that like you wouldn't think a man would like that would cry, but he was just like in tears, like bawling, and he was like, "Wow, this is exactly what I needed. Like I'm gonna send this to my son right now. Like I was gonna go home, fix me some supper, and hit the hay, but I need to send this in the post office right now. I don't know if it's too late. Either way, they're gonna get it out as soon as they can. Like my son needs this book. He's gonna read it, and if you don't read it, I'm going to make sure he reads it when I visit him next." And he said he doesn't have a great relationship with his son, but he also hopes that this book will help him with that, because it also has tips with family relationships and things like that. So he was excited about that, and he was just on fire and like so happy I brought him the book. And I was reminded again that it's always nice to listen to that voice inside, and like that when God tells you to do something, like you may like wait, I don't know why I already got a book that he wanted, like why should I go back with him? But there's so many experiences where God just leads, and like it goes somewhere I'd never expected that to happen. It's just an amazing experience. Another touching story.
Great. What would you like to say to members of the Georgia-Cumberland Conference that help to support ministries in Georgia-Cumberland and the student LE program in Georgia-Cumberland?
I just want to say like a huge thank you. I've been a part of some of the youth programs, like when they go to the Braves games or when they put on Regenerate. Been part of like the literature evangelism and Pathfinders and all these different experiences, and every time I feel like I'm getting closer to God, meeting new people, sharing God with them, and being able to grow my relationship with God. And it's just so amazing that people are able to donate to help with that. And I want other people to be able to enjoy that too. So I hope people continue to give so that other people can have some of the same experience that I have and be able to share God with other people and grow too with their relationship with God.
Great. And what would you like to say to a young person that might be considering being a student LE some summer coming up?
I would say...
Repeat that back on your own.
I would say if somebody is wanting to be a student LE literature evangelist some summer, it might be a little daunting thinking, oh, I'm going to go out, I'm going to be talking to tons of strangers, people that I've never met, all these different books. Maybe I didn't read this book by Ellen White, maybe I didn't read Greek Controversy, and now I'm trying to be giving it to other people. Like, I don't know what's going on. Don't know if I'm going to be alone, different things. Like, I don't know if people are going to give me rejections, not like me. I don't know what's going on. Like, don't be afraid, because like there's so many powerful experiences that happen. Like, whether like you might start off like thinking like this is kind of not something that I want to do, but when you get into it, and you really enjoy it. You're going to meet people that you may not have known were in the world, that like so friendly, and some people like really nice, some people that just have been searching for different books. Like, I've had experiences where people have been praying, they had a dream that like someone is going to come to their doorstep where they were supposed to get a book, and then that afternoon a literature evangelist came to their door and knocked on their door, and they're like, yes, this is like, I had a dream about this, God told me I need to get these books. And there's like angel experiences, what we like to call also divine appointments, where you have a meeting with somebody that you know God arranged, that it was meant to happen that specific time, an experience that was going to touch their life and touch your life. And if you ever have any doubts, just put that back in your mind, because the experience is so amazing.